What's going on YouTube? It's Cody Dragon and I'm back with another unboxing. I didn't think I'd be doing this many unboxings, but I got something that was even harder to get today. Something that was even more rare and more elite. The Xbox Elite controller, baby, is here. I needed something that could step up my game. You don't want to see why I got this. I broke it. I shattered the thing. I'm pretty passionate about my Halo. I don't like to mess around when it comes to Halo. And when I feel like my controller is what's holding me back, I take things into my own hands. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna talk a little bit about the pros and cons of the controller, what took a little getting used to, if this controller is right for you. It's pretty hard to get this Christmas season, so if you do want to get on it, I would definitely call your local Best Buy. I had a pretty terrible experience with them, so if you want to go to another outlet to find this, I would maybe suggest finding a GameStop or a Walmart or something like that. But without further ado, enough jibber jabber, let's get right into the unboxing. So here we have it, the Xbox Elite wireless controller. I picked this up at Best Buy on a pre-order. I would not suggest anybody purchasing things on pre-order at Best Buy. It was a terrible experience, but nonetheless I was super excited to get my Xbox Elite. First thing I noticed is the packaging was just unreal for a controller. You know, I was kind of on the borderlines of getting a SCUF or an Xbox Wireless Elite controller. Now I did have a gift card, so I opted in for this. So obviously if you stay tuned, I'm going to be able to kind of break it down a little bit more so about why I like this controller, what I don't like and what I do like. So all in all, I'll go ahead and slide this off. Really nice, thick cardboard packaging. I mean, it gives you the specs on the side, shows everything that's going to be included. We'll zoom in a little bit more on this. Nice, heavy clamshell, that's what they call this. Here, let's go ahead and open it on up. We got the bad boy right here. First thing I notice is it's a really nice finish on the plastic itself. It's like really smooth. I actually have had a chance to play with this a little bit, so this isn't the first time that I've opened this. However, I wanted to kind of get some playtime with it because upon first inspection, I'm blown away at how nice this controller is, right? Like I was sold on it when I watched some reviews online, so I decided it was time to pick it up. You know, like quality wise, this controller is so much nicer than anything I've ever used. However, I'm going to talk a little bit about how it affects gameplay. Because I am so used to a certain type of controller, the standard plastic lightweight controllers, I found myself kind of struggling with that, but I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. For the most part, let's just go into the specs. First thing I noticed is these are like kind of ball bearings, steel. These are really cool. They pop in and off, on and off, excuse me. Everything on this is like super modular, right? So this pops off, which is the satellite dish, and I'll show you guys here in a second what's on the inside, but these can pop in and off, which is awesome. I know the SCUF doesn't really have that kind of customization ability, which I thought was really cool. The Xbox, it kind of offered right off the bat, and for a price tag of $165, this actually ends up being a better deal than the SCUF. It's more expensive off the bat, but with everything that you get on the inside, you're actually getting a better deal. So I'll talk a little bit about it. It feels really good. One thing that really prompted me to purchase this was the trigger stops, which are these two green buttons right here. Excuse me, down. So that'll make it so it's a half pull. One thing I didn't really like about this is that I don't get to customize how deep or how shallow the pull goes. It's just on off. And I find it's actually a bit too shallow. So this is, you know, keep in mind this review is coming from like a competitive standpoint. I was really looking for a competitive controller when I purchased this. So that would be something that I would have liked a little bit more so that I think the SCUF offers, which is like exact fine tuning. But I will say, keep in mind, shout out to Wade Radomski from the Esports Arena because he actually mentioned this to me. He said, you know, some weapons, if you guys play Halo 5, the trigger pulls will actually not allow you to charge up certain weapons, like a plasma pistol or a plasma caster, or I haven't had any problems with the railgun, but I did notice that it was kind of funny. I found myself, when I picked up a plasma pistol, excuse me, I do use the noob combo in Halo 5, I switched this back up, and it was full pull, and then I was able to charge it back up, get the shots off until I died, or until I dropped it or burnt it out, and switched it on the go right back to it, and I was back in, which I thought was actually really neat if you guys are into something like that. Now, I don't really know if that happens with the cinch or the SCUF, but that's exactly kind of what happened to me. I do notice that the pull, or like kind of the drag on the two thumbsticks, is a little bit, it's smoother, but it's a little slower. You know, keep in mind, like I said, I've been coming from a, you know, 12 years of using a lightweight plastic controller. I did notice the Xbox One default controllers that came with the Xbox One were actually a lot cheaper plastic, but the thumbsticks kind of remain the same. So, you know, this is coming from a perspective of having used the same type of controller, but I am looking to upgrade. So all in all, this has been like a really sweet purchase. Everything is reprogrammable on this controller. So X, Y, everything can be reprogrammed to do certain things. I think these are a little bit nicer. They click a little better. I just love the overall finish of this. I think it looks a lot better than the rest. So that's the controller. It is a wireless. I don't have any batteries. Actually, I have my plug and play that I've been using. But I will show you what else this comes with. So if you've been on the fence about purchasing a plug and play to go with this, I would actually hold off. So we'll go ahead and open up the case here now. Like I said, this like thick, hard kind of covering clamshell case is so nice. I definitely will be using this when it comes to traveling. Now it comes with the thumbsticks, two different heights, three different height thumbsticks if you include the default. So these are your, I think, extra centimeter. I have used these a little bit. They're definitely not for FPSs, at least not for me. They kind of felt a bit wonky. I even went so far as to like use one of these on the right and then use the default shorter one on the left because the right one's my aimer. And one of the big problems I've had with Halo 5 is the ability to aim. It just doesn't feel right yet. I feel like the slow turn, and maybe in conjunction with using this controller, I'm just feeling like a bit off. And a big thing I really loved about Halo was the feel of Halo, and that's because I've been using the same controller, same settings. Halo 2 and Halo 3 were so similar in playstyle, minus the shot leading, that I found that the feel was really kind of drove me back. But that's a bit on a sidetrack. It comes with this nice little styrofoam prop up. I probably won't keep that in there just because it's more aesthetics and probably end up falling around a little bit. So we'll go ahead and pull out what we've talked about. So these are your two default. These are concave. So they have the indent on the top, and those are for, you know, maybe racing or something else like that. Now let's go into the other thumbsticks. These are your shallow, same height as the default concave, but these are the opposite. So these are rounded. I tried these on Halo. I wasn't a huge fan of it for the feel because I really like to get in on the actual controller itself and kind of like really get into the feel of it. I'm going to keep reiterating that I think a controller is so important to the feel of a game. So this was not my first choice for playing Halo 5. Maybe like a fighter game or something like that where you want, yeah, or maybe like aim isn't such a big deal. So it comes with those. So all in all, you're getting three different thumbsticks. I'll go ahead and pop them off. I'll show you how easy it is to pop on and pop off, right? So it's magnetic, excuse me. And let's take these big boys. I just pop them on, throw them in just like that. I mean, ready to go within, you know, 2 seconds, not even. So I found that part right there was actually really cool. Now, my overall kind of approach to this is like, yes, this is great. This is awesome that we have this ability, but is it actually something that has a lot of application? Like, is this realistic? Is this something that I'm actually gonna be needing to do? Am I gonna be needing to change my thumbsticks out? I'm a single player. I mean, I play one or two different competitive games. So to me, the ability to do that isn't something that's like huge on my priority list. However, it might be great for you. It's just not something that I needed right off the bat. That wasn't a huge selling point to me. Like I said, again, the huge selling point to me was the trigger stops, and I think the reprogrammability in the paddles on the back. And so we'll get into that right now, where I'll show you the different paddles. Also the D-pad that comes with it, standard D-pad, same kind of thing, magnetic, just pops in and out. Put it in. It's really simple. The paddles is where kind of the action happens per se. So you get two different sets of paddles, right? And if you aren't familiar with the way it works, if you're not familiar with the scuff or cinch, these little sections right here are where the paddles go. I'll show you how easy it is. Now this is, keep in mind, it's very easy to put in, but it's also really easy for them to fall out. I noticed that as I was grabbing the controller on the back side, it was kind of difficult to keep them in place. I noticed that they were coming up as I was using the controller because like my thumbs would kind of get under it and push it out. Now the cinch or the scuff, they're locked in place. So that's really important to notice if you guys are kind of intense with the controller, which I am. It's not a bad thing. You know, you should keep that in mind. Like it's not a bad thing to really grip your controller, really get in on the crevices, but you know, it feels really good right off the bat. And like I said, the ability to pop them in and pop them out is a breeze. That's a huge thing I can think is a huge selling point of this controller, is the fact that, excuse me, hold on. Well, I probably don't even know how to put these in all the way because I don't even use both. Yeah, I don't use both of these actually. I only use one, and it's these two. So let me see if I can correctly put these back in. Let's see here. Excuse me. No way. This is definitely not how this is gonna work. Maybe these paddles go in differently. I'm gonna have to edit this out for sure because I look like an idiot. But like I said, I only use one paddle. That's definitely not how it works. So someone could show me how to do that one. That'd be cool. Oh, I think this is the way it works. So these go on the bottom. The longer ones go on the bottom, excuse me, and these ones go on the top. And that's probably how it works. Maybe not. Let's see if they switch a little bit because they're overlapping right there. Yeah, this is definitely it right there. I apologize for that. That was painful, but we're all right. So this is the way it'll look if it's fully set up. You know, it feels good, but as someone who grips the controller, I don't like the fact that if I fully grip the controller, I'm pushing on 4 different buttons now, right? And you can reprogram these, which is awesome. But like I said, it's just kind of difficult. And as a traditionalist who's been playing the same controller in the game for, you know, so long now, that this is going to take a little bit of getting used to. I'm probably going to only end up rocking with these two on the back. It feels great though. But like I said, these can kind of pop up pretty easily. So if your thumb gets or your finger gets underneath it, it goes, you know, let's see if I can send it off. Off they go, right? So you gotta be really careful with that. That's one thing to know, that it doesn't stay in place totally all the way. But all in all, like the finish, there's a nice rubberized grip on the outside, which I wanted to controller. I was thinking about getting squid grips, but these ended up coming with it. So that right there was really sweet. But like I said, so far, the main thing that I've been a little let down on is the fact that these two, the trigger stops and the controllers, it's not adjustable. I really didn't like the full pull. It's a lot longer. It's not very satisfying. And like feel is such a big deal in a first-person shooter. You really get into the groove of things. And I think that's when you can kind of break down the barrier of using a controller and being in the game, is kind of eliminating friction. Not real like friction, but eliminating any kind of like hiccups in between you and the controller. That's a really, really big part of kind of crossing the gap from playing a video game and being in the game, especially with playing a competitive game. I think it's really important to focus everything on you, you know, what's going on the screen and what's going on in front of you. So, but all in all, it feels good. Like I said, just to kind of piggyback on this, these joysticks, they're like a steel finish, so they're actually a little bit heavier than playing with the original, which I actually noticed. I noticed the difference. In Halo 5, aim with slow turn, I feel like Halo 5 slow turn and this joystick do not mix well, okay? Because it feels really sluggish. You know, so that's something that I've been kind of upset with as I play Halo 5. But I did purchase this controller to upgrade, and I do understand that the need that I'm gonna have to be patient because I will be playing with this. But as a tournament controller, I think it's great. It comes with the case. Great packaging as well if you guys are really into packaging. It's super sturdy. They put a lot of energy into this, so let's go ahead and open up the rest of this. This is just paperwork down here. Just your user guide where it talks about reprogramming buttons, which I thought was cool. So this is the final part. So if you get this, don't forget to open up the very bottom of this because there is one last thing, which I think is actually really sweet. So we'll go ahead and pop this guy open. Comes with your batteries. I have a battery pack, so I'm not gonna need that. But also this is where the money happens, which is super important for competitive play because you go, okay, well the Xbox Elite controller is wireless. That doesn't sound very legit to me. So thank God they included this bad boy in the mix, which is your micro USB. Super nice. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. It's not happening any second now. Let me get this out of the way. There we go, bad boy. It's super nice. It's thick. It doesn't like cinch very easily. So it's a thick, high quality, kind of braided micro USB. It looks pretty long to me. So probably, let's see. You won't be able to see on camera, but I can let you know how I mean, maybe 5-6 feet. So you're not gonna have to sacrifice a whole lot to play with the wired part of this. Some of you guys prefer wireless, but obviously with tournaments, this is kind of what you're gonna have to be using. So I'm glad they included that. That's the reason I said you don't necessarily need to include a battery pack with this, because if you're gonna play wired, you can plug it straight in and there's no need for batteries. So for $170, you're gonna end up getting this great controller, 2 extra sets of paddles that'll be going on the bottom if you so choose, 2 long poles and 2 shorties. D-pad, rounded sticks, tall sticks, probably an extra centimeter or so. AA batteries, cable, clamshell carrying case, boom. Sweet, extra little spots to hold your stuff. And last but not least, the box itself, super sick, hardcore. Don't knock everything over, it's nice. It's like really good stuff. So if you want to keep your controller safe when it's not in its carrying case, I like carrying some Xbox gear every once in a while. So all in all, that's gonna wrap up the entire review. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. All in all, I've been pretty happy with it. It's gonna take some getting used to, but I think if you're debating getting this over a SCUF, I think this is a better purchase. You're getting more for your money. Depends on, you have to ask yourself some couple questions. What is it that you want from a controller? What will you be using it for? Do you play multiple games? Are you competitive? Are you going to tournaments with this? Or are you just gonna be kind of, do you want a nicer controller? Do you want, ask yourself, what kind of player are you? So all in all, I give it like a B minus. I'm still kind of wishing the Xbox 360 controller would come back. All in all, I think that's been my favorite, but Xbox One definitely needed an upgrade with this controller. The plastic on this is very nice. So all in all, give it a thumbs up and a half. Thumbs up and a half. Not bad.